Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for the first of our webinars for Love Reading for Kids. My name is Deborah McLaren. I am the MD of Love Reading, and I'm joined this evening by our schools liaison manager, Becky Prime, who you'll also be able to see. Becky will put her email address in the chat should you have any follow-up queries or questions following this session today. For your information, we'll be recording it for us to use as a resource for other schools, so hopefully that's okay. As I mentioned in the chat, there is a poll on the screen there that would be really grateful if you could complete. There are just a few questions so we can gauge how familiar you are with our sites, where you are with literacy in your school, so we can make sure that we cover off everything we need to in the time we have together tonight. The title for tonight's webinar is Supporting Reading for Pleasure in Schools with Love Reading for Kids, so thank you so much for being here. I thought before I began, I'd give you a bit of an overview, just in case you're not totally familiar with Love Reading, and just talk through some of the changes we have implemented over the last few months, because they are quite significant changes. So we're still doing all the great stuff we've always done, but there are some real changes to that. And then what we'll do is we'll do a deep dive into the portal so that I can show you exactly what you should be able to see on your dashboard, how you can utilize that, and making sure that you've got everything you need. If you have any questions along the way, there is a Q&A function at the bottom of your screen, so please do pop any questions you have in there. Becky will either invite them as we go along, or I'll answer them as we go along, or we'll come to them at the end when there'll be more of an opportunity for a proper Q&A. So, the Love Reading family, we exist as a brand, as an entity, because reading matters and books change lives. The fact that you're all here today shows that you know this, you're living and breathing this day in, day out. We're preaching to the converted. But we know that everything changes when we read, and there is so much research to support the fact that reading for pleasure has such a positive impact on the outcomes of our kids. Here at Love Reading for Kids, we champion reading. We champion voices old and new every single day. Books where all kids can see themselves reflected, fiction, non-fiction, for every age, for every interest and every reading level. And since 2005, we have been here to help people find their first favourite book or their next favourite book or their next favourite author. You can filter by age range, interest, you can download opening extracts, you can read reviews from kids, our children's review panel, as well as our children's book experts. Children can even share their own reviews of books they've loved and see them published on the site. We're still doing all that gorgeous, juicy reading recommendations that we've always done. But we announced last summer the launch of an online bookstore with social purpose, something we're very, very proud of. This exists on both of our main websites, Love Reading and Love Reading for Kids. So whether it's a book for you, a book for the children in your school, you can go and receive 10% off the RRP of a book, and 25%, this is the key thing, 25% of money spent by that buyer can be donated to a school of the buyer's choice for that school to spend on books. I've been a governor now for the last 8 years, and I see firsthand the challenges of funding, the challenges of making sure you've got all of the up-to-date books where all children can find themselves reflected. So I really get the challenges of that. And we felt we wanted to do more at Love Reading for that. So they come to the site, they can nominate you at checkout. So shout this from the rooftops to your parental communities, and I'll talk you through in a bit how you can do that. Because if every time they buy a book, they select your school at checkout, you will just see your dashboard totting up and the pounds totting up, which gives you books, gives you money to buy more books. Now, even if the buyer doesn't nominate a school or doesn't have an affinity for the school, 70% of our buyers on Love Reading, for example, are just coming to get reading recommendations and to buy a book. And they don't tend to nominate a school. What happens there is that 10% of the spend is put into a pot, and that money is donated to schools in need. And schools can apply for that funding scheme on the dashboard. I'll talk you through that later, more on that later. I know you're probably going to have a lot of questions on that. Now, historically, we had a separate site for schools, but with the launch of the bookstore, we decided to streamline that, and we merged Love Reading for Schools into Love Reading for Kids, creating this one-stop shop, if you like, this hub for reading for pleasure. Now, that Love Reading for Schools portal is there to support you, to support schools wanting to embed a reading for pleasure culture. On your school dashboard, you can create your own tailored recommended reading lists. You can adopt our expertly curated lists. You can share those lists with your parents, enabling them to make better informed purchasing decisions for their children. You can apply for funding. You can create a wish list, a bit like they can do on Amazon, but we don't want to give Jeff Bezos any more money. So you can create a wish list now on the Love Reading for Schools dashboard so that you can help people buy books for your school. So I'm now going to take you through the site. I'll share my screen with you shortly, and just holler if there is any questions you have along the way. Okay. Now, what I'll do, I've seen a question, we had a question there, and we'll come to that next, actually. You've been members since last autumn, and that we know that people have nominated you as their chosen school. How do you access the funds? What I'll do now is I share my screen, I'll take you through an example of, if I can just get the right thing. I'm going to take you through an example dashboard so you can see exactly what you should see when you log in. And what we're talking about. Okay, so can you all see my screen? Becky, can you see? Yeah, all good. Great, thank you. So this is the Love Reading for Kids homepage, lovereading4kids.co.uk. On this homepage, which is where a lot of people come, is all of our main content. So just by coming to this part of the site, you can scroll and see everything there. You've got our staff picks, our books of the month, our star books. You've got all of the content that we're creating, and these are just some of the blog posts, for example, we've created recently. This is really important for us to make sure that we're keeping at the forefront of everything that's being created. So for Holocaust Memorial Day, we created a collection. A school recently asked us to create a collection on puberty. It's LGBT History Month in February, so we've done something for that. So you can see all of this content that is created. Let's say, for example, though, you wanted to do look at books on diversity. If you were to put that into the search function, you can see that it pulls up some books on diversity here, and a blog post about diversity, but you can see the collections are there. If you click into that, you will then see collections of books, diversity and inclusion, neurodiversity, family diversity. So you can see there all of those sort of areas, and you can scroll, see the books, and you can add them to your basket at any time, just by doing it that simply by clicking buy. So that's how you sort of navigate the site. Now, what you should be able to see over here in the top right hand corner of my screen is there are a few login options. So you've got the login for you as an individual. So I log in there when I'm buying books for my children, and you go there. Now the school's portal is the building logo there, and you just click into that to access your dashboard. So hopefully everyone here will be school members. I'm going to put my school, our Love Reading school login there, and you can just dive straight in. Okay, so this is what your dashboard should look to it when you've logged in as your school. Now you can see here the current balance. You will, if people have been buying for you already, you will have a balance there, and that is where you will see the money that's been allocated to you, and that updates real time. So the minute that order is placed and your school is donated to you, that balance will update. Okay. Here you can manage your whole school page. So you can view your school's page. And this is how, so if you just wanted to share your school page with your parents and carers at your school, you just copy and paste that link and pop it in your school newsletter, pop it on Twitter, pop it on your Facebook, wherever you want that to do. And they can come to this and get reading recommendations. Okay, so that's how you look at your school page. You can edit all your details there. Now, let's say you want to buy books for your school, and this is another key thing. We had a school who very luckily had a lovely amount of money to spend on books. This is a school in Newmarket. It's a primary academy. Just this morning, they put an order through for £3,000 worth of books. Such a gorgeous list. Now, straight away, I can see on their dashboard that that has generated them £768 for their school that is sitting on their dashboard for them to buy more books. So if you're considering buying books for your school, remember you can donate to yourself at checkout and get money back, 25% back. So there it really is that easy, just that 4-step process is how you can buy books for your schools. Now, one thing to mention there, as a user of the site, we take PayPal, we take credit cards, Apple Pay, and all of that on your phone. But if you are a school and you have got an order that you want to put through for more than £500, we can sort that out by backs. And we can send you an invoice so it can be paid that way. So just bear that in mind if you're looking for that route to make it easy for yourselves. Okay, reading lists. Now, our recommended reading lists are created ongoing by our teams of experts. And we have got, I'm going to go down a bit and so you can browse our reading list first. You can see here that there are all sorts of reading lists that we've created already or that we continue to create for our schools. So if you look here, for example, at our age groups, every single start of the academic year, our experts look our recommended reading list for every age group, and they tweak and adapt. Some come out, some pop in, and what we say is if here you've got a reception class, these are 25 gorgeous books that we would recommend for that age range. Fully diverse, fully reflective. Kids are going to absolutely love them. So here are the recommendations for our reception classes. What you can do is you can add that list to your school's page, so it shows on your school page by just clicking that link there. You can download that list as a PDF, and a lot of our schools have little document holders, so that when you've got a parents' evening, that you've got a PDF so that they can pick up the reception recommended reading list, or the children can use them to browse. So let's say they're in the library and they're in reception and they're looking for a new book, they can browse and you know, this list and find that book on the shelf. There are lots of ways you can do it. So you can add it to your list, or you can buy that list at the click of a button by just adding that list to your basket. As you go, you can click on the heart button and that will add it to your wish lists. Okay, so this could, for example, go in the Year 1 reading corner, and that is added to the wish list. I'll come back to that wish list function later. But you really can see all of the books that are recommended, and they're updated every year. What I would say here, we've got a lot on English and reading for pleasure. We've got dyslexia-friendly books, which are updating all the time. We've got lots of books here with classroom resources, which are great. We've got graphic novels. If there are any lists you would love to see, please let us know, because we are really, really happy to create those lists. So we've done some recently on PSHE at the bequest of schools. Similarly, we've just updated our STEM lists with everything from space and the solar system to the human body. So do bear that in mind and add those lists to your school page. Now, let's say you've added a list. Let's say you've added your age group list, and but maybe you want to edit that list, okay? Because maybe your year 6 class are reading Beetle Boy at the moment and you want to add it to the list. So you can tailor these lists and you can add books to these lists at any time. So that's just a great way of, you're not stuck with the lists we've created, or you can create a brand new reading list. Totally up to you. You can make them public or private. So I know what a lot of schools are doing now is that they're asking team members to collaborate. So let's say you want to create a new list for year 1. You might have your head of literacy that you want to collaborate with it. The librarian might want to add to it. And what you can do by editing the list, you can decide whether it's just you for now logging in because it's not public yet. And you can edit. So by viewing the list, or you can add or remove books to that list at any time. So let's say you want to add, I don't know, What We Are, the new Oliver Jeffers book. It should come up when you put that I don't even know if it's on the site yet. Maybe it isn't. What We Are, there you go. Pop it on, and then you just add that to the list. So it's super easy to add or remove books from that list there. Okay. Now, wish lists. As I mentioned earlier, a bit like a wedding list, for want of a better explanation. This is where you can create a wish list of books that you would love to have in the school, but maybe you're struggling to purchase yourselves. Now, we have recently done this in our school, or where I'm a governor, where we didn't have enough copies of Beetle Boy. The children were sharing one between 2, studying it in class, and we wanted everyone to have their own class text. So what we did is we shared this with a little explanation, something like that we're reading this half term, we're reading Beetle Boy, and we'd love the children to have their own copy. If you can spare a few pounds to help us give our year 6 class the gift of this book for this year and many years to come, we'd be very grateful. You just pop in how many quantity of that book you need, and they will automatically get purchased. The list will update, and those books will get sent straight to the school. So it's just a great way of getting books to you. And of course, there's the double whammy. It's like double bubble, because not only do you get the free book, because a kind parent has bought that for you, but then they can donate their 25% to you at checkout. So you then get 25% extra back as well. So it's a great way, whether you've got an alumni, whether you've got friends, parents, carers, governors, you name it, people who you think might want to support the school, you can add a list there. And it really is super easy. You can see there, share that list with others at the click of a button, pop it on Twitter, pop it on your local community groups, and watch those books come in, and people buy them for you. Okay, there's an FAQ section there in case you have any questions, but the other thing to mention, at all times we have got a live chat function in the bottom left hand corner of the screen. So that is manned in working hours, but even if we're not there, if you leave your email address on it, we will get back to you with the answer to your question. And of course, we have Becky, who is always on hand to answer any questions you may have. We've got a CPD function here, which if you're looking for any literacy courses for CPD, we're updating this all the time. We work with many partners, including the CLPE, the UKLA, the School Library Association, OUP and Reading for Pleasure. So do check back. It's just a way of seeing what's available. So that will be updated real time. Now, this funding, our new funding scheme, we are super proud of this. So needed. It's a bit like the Foils program, which everyone knows about. That's obviously hugely oversubscribed. So we have decided to that 10% for people that don't donate to a particular school, we've created our Funding for Schools scheme. All the information is here. We are prioritising schools with income deprivation or cultural deprivation, with high free school meal levels, with higher DACI, schools in deprived areas, or schools with poor literacy levels, really looking to improve their standards. It is really easy to apply for, but you will need to submit some documentation to validate your application. The thing to mention here is that it's not at any particular year, it's an ongoing scheme. We donated £1,000 to this school in Mansfield in Nottingham just the end of last year. I was crying reading the application. We look at the challenges that I know so many schools are facing. We're going to be announcing next week our next £1,000 donation, our next to a school. And so if you feel that you cover off some of those levels, do take a look at that funding and apply. You're very, very welcome. Now, one more thing to mention here is our blog. So this is, again, content we're creating for you. Everything from what's happening for World Book Day this year to New Year's resolutions. So lots of content specifically for schools. Creating a wish list for your school who doesn't love getting books for free, details about the funding scheme. So you can dive into that at any time and engage with that content. Now here we have got a load of resources available for you to share this to your communities. Whether it is just simply reading posters for you to put in your setting, in your library, in your classrooms, right through to a series of posters, again, with some of those books that we highly recommend, or banners that you can put on your school newsletter, or banners that you can put on your school newsletter. You can just take the bit of code there, you can pop the ad on your website and make sure that you're utilizing all of those opportunities to share this with us. Again, if there's anything else you need that you think will be useful to share this further, do let us know and we can absolutely produce that for you. Okay, so one thing I was just reiterate really is that we want you to be sharing this with your parents. We want you to be able to really look at that and make sure that you're shouting it from the rooftops. I mean, if you only have to think that, let's say you have 400 children in the school, if you could just convert 10% and they spend 20 quid once, that's a couple of £100 for free books. If you can convert it to a quarter of the children, 1 in 4 buying a couple of books, and that could be £500 worth of free books for you. So it really does start adding up as you as you use it. So hopefully that has given you a snapshot of the dashboard, of how you navigate the site, how you log into the portal. As I said, we are on hand. If you have any questions, Becky@lovereading.co.uk. and if there's anything else you would like to see. But hopefully this was a useful session for you to understand how you can utilize Love Reading for Kids in engendering reading for pleasure in your schools. Okay. Thank you so much for joining. I think unless we've got any more questions, I think there was another question, but Becky has answered that. So do get in touch if there's anything else we can do. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. All the very best. Thank you.